Quick overview of the association. This shipping association was officially launched in 2003 with 11 chartered members forming the core membership of the association. The broad-based objective of the association at the time was to unite key stakeholders with a view of promoting shipping and to deal with, some of our issues that we face at the port. The task of navigating members through these choppy waters was entrusted to Mr. Trevor A. Phillip and his team, who served as the first executive of the association. After Mr. Phillips, Mr. Eddie Hazel of West Indies Shipping served as president in 2006, following the end of Trevor's tenure. Wayne Monroe of Universal Freight served as the third president of the association, and Wayne served for a two-year term. Eddie returned for another 2 terms, and then in 2016, I succeeded Mr. Hazel as the president of the association. Our members comprise all of the major vessel lines. So anytime you drive by the port and you see those vessel lines, Tropical, King Ocean, Seaboard, these are members of our association. We also comprise of the non-vessel operating common carriers. These are these agencies who do not own vessels, but they still provide a shipping service. A number of the air cargo agents are members of the association. Our 2 major cruise agents are also members of the association, Cox & Company and Platinum Port. And of recent, we've included the couriers, the FedEx, the UPS, and some of the small package agencies. And we are also affiliate of the renowned Caribbean Shipping Association. Today, rethinking business continuity and disaster preparedness in the aftermath of Hurricane Irma and Maria. You see, in today's society, disaster seems to be striking all corners of the Caribbean and the globe. The importance of emergency management is undeniable. Much human loss and unnecessary destruction of infrastructure can be avoided with more foresight and specific planning. During emergencies, various aid organizations often face significant problems of transporting large amounts of many different commodities, including food, clothing, medicine, medical supplies, machinery, personnel, from all different points of origin to different destinations in the disaster areas. The transportation of supplies and relief personnel must be done quickly and efficiently to maximize the survival rate of the affected population and minimize the cost of such operation. This morning it is sad to say that the experts in logistics and supply chain management are always the last to be called upon. It always seemed that after a disaster, the shipping association is engaged. Many times we are not part of the discussion of disaster preparedness. And when a disaster happens, because we own the vessels, the ferries, the airplanes, we're the ones who are called on, firstly. And this morning, I want us to change that mindset and look at the shipping fraternity as one of the most critical aspects of disaster preparedness. From a global perspective, we've recognized that the number of disasters seem to be increasing every year. And as the number of disasters increase, more persons and businesses are affected. The question is, how do we, as a business community, prepare for these disasters? And most recently, we had Hurricane Irma, which is recorded as one of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes outside of the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean Sea. It lasted as a hurricane from August 31st to September 11th. The storm, which stretched over 650 miles from east to west, affected at least 9 U.S. states, turning streets into rivers, ripping down power lines, uprooting trees, and cutting off coastal communities. On September 6, Hurricane Irma left a string of small Caribbean islands devastated. The eye of the hurricane passed over Bermuda, damaging about 95% of the buildings on that island. Hurricane Irma also left a trail of death and destruction in the Caribbean. Hurricane Maria, was the 10th most intense Atlantic hurricane on record. It is regarded as the worst natural disaster on record in Dominica and caused severe damages and major humanitarian crisis in Puerto Rico. You know, it really hit home when we were at the last AGM of the Caribbean Shipping Association, when one of my colleagues said to us, that is Darwin Telemac, who is the director of seaports in Antigua, who's a Dominican, and he said to us, I lost my brother in the hurricane. And he said all of the logistics and what he has been doing throughout his career, did not prepare him for this. And it was really, really a sad moment to know that, every single person in that room could have identified with him that day. On a local level, I want to take the opportunity to publicly thank a number of our shipping lines, Tropical, the GIS lines, also through their local agent, M&C Shipping. And very early, GIS lines partnered with Nemo, offering free shipping of relief items to Dominica. We did not have to ask, but very early, the GIS lines came out and they said, okay, we're going to do this thing for free. Yes, they faced a number of challenges. To get to the port, it was difficult to get to the port. I recall one incident where the vessel got to Dominica and it had to stay out for almost a whole week before that vessel could have been berthed. And we faced a number of challenges which we as a Caribbean Shipping Association said that we need to sit and revisit. As an association, it made me feel proud to know that, our member associations can reach out, at a time like this. I also noticed some smaller vessels by walking on the port. One notably Flying Blazer, with a number of well-known retired volunteers. They were collecting items and also shipping them free of charge to Dominica. And I must commend these organizations for doing such a fantastic job and for responding to this call. When we speak of disaster, those of us in the logistics and supply chain management industry, we could recall also that in the late 1990s, a vessel sunk off Viewfort. I think it was just about this time in December. Many persons were bringing in their Christmas items, and this vessel had just finished offloading items for St. Lucia en route to Barbados. This vessel sank. In 2014, there was a fire in the engine room of a cruise ship right there at the port. We also have the example of the trough and also Hurricane Thomas, which a number of us, were affected by. You see, when business is disrupted, it can cost money. And we're in the business of making money, but not losing money. Lost revenue plus extra expenses means reduced profit. Insurance does not cover all costs and cannot replace customers that defect to the competition. A business continuity plan, as my colleague expounded on, is something that is essential to every single business. This morning, my plea to every business organization is that you should have a risk management plan. Now, I cannot speak specific to your organization because some of you are service providers, some of you sell goods and services, some of you are manufacturers. But it's up to you to look into your own organization and see what it is and look at the risks and decide what are the risk management plans that you need to take into consideration. While thinking of this topic, I was drawn back to one of my favorite books, the Bible. And I remember the model of Noah's Ark. And Noah knew very well that the storm would have come. But did Noah sit by and say that he's not going to do anything? No. I'm told that the very people who assisted Noah in building the ark didn't believe that the waters would have come. But it came. Why am I saying this morning? I'm saying this to tell us that we are prone to disaster. Our businesses are prone to disasters. So it's critical, if we have not, in this very moment, it is critical that we should put a disaster plan in place. One of the things that I've noted in my 19 years of shipping is that some of the buying practices of some of our consignees are not practical at all. I realize some persons, I don't know if it's because of pride, or you want your neighbor to see that you have an entire 20-foot or 40-foot sitting by your organization. But some persons are buying more than they really need. And when disaster strikes, what happens? You put out so much more cash than you needed to, money that could have gone into doing, other things. You stock up huge inventories that is not necessary. In the global supply chain business, we have recognized that it is even quicker. Maybe 10 years ago, it would have taken you 3 months, 6 months to get supplies from China or Japan. Why are you still buying large quantity of supplies when it will take you at least 15 days, or even from China, at least 1 month to get supplies right here? The monies that you're putting out can be used, for other reasons. Insurance coverage is one of the key things that we need to have. I've also noticed that as a shipper, some of our businesses do not have what I call a proper data storage facility. Are your servers backed up? Off-premise or cloud computer servers are the best way to protect accounting and other key records and critical elements, such as emails. You should also make daily electronic backups of important documents, files, and database. Make copies of those records and store them in an off-site, physical, secure facility. Articles of incorporation, accounts receivables, client records, and important personal and administrative documents should be among the priorities for backup. You see, on a disaster strike, and many of those businesses who did not have that continuity plan or that disaster plan, they lost vital data. And we recognize data is key to any business organization. And even in the shipping fraternity, we've recognized that managing your data and properly storing your data is critical. In conclusion, a disaster preparedness plan for your business is one of those things that you have but hope you will never use, rather than need or wish you had. Proper disaster planning can go a long way to giving you the peace of mind that comes with knowing that your business is ready, willing, and able to shift into disaster response mode whenever it may be necessary. I thank you.